Hello guys, welcome back, and yes, I made a second video today, mostly because I want to, but either way, welcome guys, and welcome back to another video of Demons and Shinobis. So yeah, let us begin, ladies and gents. So, we would go back to where we basically ended off the last episode, as we currently see Izuku finally meeting with his father again, aka Kirya. As Kirya would say this, Izuku, son, what happened to you? What happened to your arm? And as Izuku would say this, oh no. I'm not gonna be answering any of your questions until you answer mine, he would say. As after saying that, his knife would, be gripped in his hand as he would tighten the grip of it. As Kirya would say this, Izuku, what happened to you? What happened to your... As he would say this, oh, I thought that you would probably know that, mom is dead, he would say. As he would say this, what? How? And what? As he would say this, she was killed in a car accident. And for me, you know how many years I have to suffer after her loss, you would say. How many years of basically you never attending any of my birthdays, even attending the death of your own wife, you would say. As you would look at him with an angry stare, as his red eye would burst into flames. But actually more like, instead of flames, it's more like, more like, dark, darkish, clouds. Or at least, dark, reddish clouds, to be more specific. As you would say this, oh, and remember all those birthdays? Yeah, I only had uncle and grandfather, he would say. Why? Where have you been? Where have you been? As he would grip his, his Alice knife a little bit more harder. As Kirya would say this, Izuku, I was busy being a shinobi, he would say. As he would say this, so you're a shinobi. As he would start laughing, even more, as he would say, oh, this is rich. I never thought that my own father was a freaking shinobi. Oh, it all makes sense. Not, he would say, as he would say this. And what about them, he would say, as you would look towards, Team Hanzo, as one of them specifically. As the girl with pink hair would say this, hey, can you please calm down? And also, hi, she would say, as you would say this. Whatever. As you would still look at him, specifically Kirya, as you would say this. Don't tell me that you cheated on mom, he would say. As Kirya would say this. No, it isn't like that, I swear, you would say. It's more like they're my students, he would say. As he would say this. So you're saying you basically replaced me, he would say. As you would say this. No, I didn't mean it like that, you say. As Izuku would say this. Oh no, it's fine. So you basically left me and decided to take on these kids instead of your own son. Fine then. I should be leaving. After all, I'm nothing more than a... how do you say this? How do you say this, you would say. As you would grip the knife even more, as his eyes would betray that of hatred. As he would say this. How do I say this? Nothing more than a disappointment, he would say. As Kirya would just say, Izuku, it isn't like... As he would say this. It's fine. As he would basically grip onto his mask. As he would take off his mask, showing off some of the scars that he had. As he would say this. It doesn't matter. I'm only here to protect this place. And I'm already done with my mission. I should be leaving, he would say. And I hope to never see you again! As after saying that, he would look towards his so-called father, as he would say this. And by the way, don't call me your son ever again, he would say, as he would leave summoning out another demon. As in front of Izuku was some sort of bird-like creature wearing some sort of weird crown, having yellowish green feathers and also having a mane full of feathers. I guess you can say it's sort of a mane of blue feathers. As Izuku would grab onto its back as he would ride on it, as he would say this, "Hope to never see you again," he would say with his cold eyes, as after doing so, he would start flying off on this large, and we see the demon's name. His name is Suparna, and yes, and if you're wondering, I do have a book of all of the demons that Izuku will have, and let's just say it's going to be, a lot of demons, because I categorize them as weak, mid, and I'm going to be starting to make the, the list of demons that are called, strong and then god level. Yes, I'm not even kidding, and let's just say it's not going to be fun for me. So, anyway, as Izuku would fly off, we would go to the POV, or, perspective of... Sorry about that, burped. Oh, okay, Team Hanzo. So, Kiryu would say this. "Son, I didn't know," as he would basically, look at the distant, not really my, more like the distant figure I meant of Izuku, as he's currently flying away, as one of them specifically a girl with, with blonde hair, aka the one that's not wearing her, blazer, or I think that's a blazer, on correctly, as she would say this. "So, that's your son?" she would say, as she would say this. "Yes." As she would say this. "Well, I mean, he's hot," she would say, as one of them specifically the dark-haired one with, the almost military-ish garb would say, "Not now, Katsuragi," she would say. "And besides, what happened to him? And what do you mean that his mother," or as you would look towards, Kiryu, as he would say this. "I never really known that. In fact, I was super busy with my work that I didn't even notice that." "Oh God," he would say. "Son, as he would start, looking at the now, where Izuku used to be, as you'd say. I'm sorry," he would say, as he would currently, go down, or literally, like, kneel down on the floor, as he would say, "I'm sorry, son. I didn't know. I was just..." As he would start, crying his eyes out, as one of them specifically, as the pink-haired girl would say, "Kiryu-sensei, are you okay?" she would say, as he would say this. I'm... As he would start crying even more, as you'd say, "Son, I'm sorry." As after saying that, one person would basically come up to him, specifically Asuka, as she would say this. "Kiryu-sensei," she would say, as he would say this. "Yes, Asuka," he would say, still having tears in his eyes, as she would say this. "Maybe we can help him out. Maybe we can even bring him onto our group. Maybe we can even make him a part of Team Hanzo as well. I mean, but what does he mean by demons, and what were those things? I mean, they look like fairies," she would say, as he would say this. "For now, we need to tell the headmaster about this. And we also need to tell your grandfather about you. And my..." As he would be gripping his, a part of his, shoulder. as she would say this. Right. Let's go, girls, she would say, as after that, Team Hanzo would start leaving. But, unbeknownst to them, somebody was watching them. As we currently see someone on the rooftops, as she would say this. Interesting. I never thought that Kiryu would have a son. And I never thought that he would abandon him. Well, it seems that I'll just have to take care of him. Especially if he's going to be useful for us at Hibijo. Especially with those things that he was able to summon. Girls, she would say, as a few people would arrive, being that of... So, as 5 girls would appear, one of them seems to be the girl that we saw from the boat. From, I think it was, I can't remember which episode, god damn it! But either way, it seems to be the dark-skinned girl, now wielding several different types of katanas. Another one seems to be a girl wearing almost European-type dressing, but also wielding a large claymore. A girl wielding a box cutter-like blade, and has a weird tattoo that resembles a snake. A loli wearing super European-type clothing, and I don't even want to talk about the blonde one named Haruka. I'm not going to talk about her. As all of them would say this. Yeah, that boy seems to be quite interesting, she would say. Specifically the girl named Haruka, down below over here. As one of them says this, specifically Mirai. He doesn't seem that tough, she would say. As Yumi would say this. If he's going to be joining our group, then does he like bean sprouts, she would say? As Homura would say this. So, Rin-sensei, she would say. As she would say this. Yes, Homura, she would say. As she would say this. How should we try and approach him, she would say. As she would say this. For now, keep watching him. It seems that he has more of those missions that he has. But I am wondering, what are those things? As you would still see some of the remnants of some of these, demons. Some of them specifically being that of some of the, pixie that survived, and one, high pixie, they're currently trying to get back to home, aka back to the fairy forest. Or at least a part of the fairy forest, not the one that's basically like, where the, party basically started. So, as we currently see, one of them, specifically the green-haired girl, would say this. He's interesting, she would say. As she would basically, rub her, her forearm. As one of them would say this, specifically Haruka. Ara, I didn't know that you started to like someone so quickly. Especially for you, Hikagi, she would say. As she would say this. Whatever, she would say. As she would give off an emotionless tone to her voice. As Yomi would say this. So, what are we trying to do with him exactly, she would say. As one of them would say this. Well, it's Rin-sensei we're talking about. As they would look towards Rin-sensei, aka her. As she would say this. He'll be pretty useful. Especially in Hibijo. But for now, we'll just keep watching him. And for now, let us keep tabs on him. And one of you, she would say, as she would look towards the, the now named Hibijo group. As she would say this. I want you to try and convince him. And if you can't, force him, she would say. As after saying that, one of them specifically, Haruka, again, she would say this. He'll be a great minion of mine. Or should I say another plaything, she would say, as she would give off a, sultry laugh. As, Mirai would say this. Can you please stop, she would say. As she would say this. Whatever, she would say. As after saying that, all of them would be told by Rin to start leaving. And so, this is where we're gonna be ending off this episode right off here. So yeah, I hope you liked the video, comment and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye-bye!